Let me ask you something straight up, no fluff. Have you ever felt like you did everything right with a man, only to watch him choose someone else? That gut punch feeling of emotional unfairness, like playing fair, got you nowhere. You were there, gave him your time, your attention, listened to him, stayed patient, understanding, and still, he walked away with someone who didn't seem to care half as much. It hurts, doesn't it? But take a breath. It's not that there's something wrong with you, or actually, there is something you didn't know. But it's not your fault. Since we were little, we were taught a lie. That being good, quiet, and never causing trouble makes a man fall madly in love. So many women end up stuck playing the perfect girl role on paper, while watching him fall for someone who, at first glance, doesn't fit that logic at all. Here's the twist. Attraction doesn't follow logic. As Carl Jung explained, most of our decisions and desires don't come from the rational mind, but from the unconscious. That's where the real power behind our emotions lies. Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. And when it comes to attraction, that's exactly what happens. Today, I'm going to share something that could completely shift how you connect with men. There are two words, when spoken with the right kind of confidence, that can change the way a man sees you. This isn't about tricks, manipulation, or pretending to be someone you're not. It's deep psychology. It's understanding how male desire really works on a primal level, beyond what even he can explain. And the best part, you don't need a supermodel's body. You don't need to be rich or live a fantasy life. You just need to understand how male desire operates at the subconscious level. If this is already shifting your perspective, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because we don't sell fairy tales here. We offer real tools backed by deep insight to help you change your love life for good. Now let's get into it. The biggest lie you've been sold is that to win a man's heart, you need to be the most logical choice, the nicest, the most available, the one who never challenges him. But that strategy, though it sounds right, doesn't spark attraction. In fact, it often does the opposite. It creates indifference. Maybe you know, or maybe you are, the woman who's always there for him. She supports him, checks in on him, sends good morning and good night messages. And still, he chooses someone else. Why? Because desire doesn't grow from comfort. It grows from mystery. As Jung would say, the soul needs tension to evolve. And in the world of attraction, emotional tension is the spark that lights everything up. When a woman tries to be flawlessly perfect, she becomes predictable. And predictable rarely equals passion. Picture this. You're starving. In front of you are two plates. One is a simple, healthy, polite salad. The other is a juicy, flavorful burger that hits all your senses. You know which one is the better choice. But which one actually calls to you? This isn't about being the wrong choice. It's about being the irresistible one. The one who stirs something in him, who leaves a mark. And no, I'm not telling you to be difficult or start drama. I'm telling you to stop being invisible. Most women avoid rocking the boat. They avoid rejection. They hide what they really want. They shrink themselves to fit in, and that's exactly how they end up being overlooked. While you're overthinking whether it's the right moment to speak up, another woman is already stirring something in him. A storm of emotions he can't explain but can't ignore. That's when women start waking up. Desire can't be reasoned with. It's felt. It's not about your emotional resume. It's about how he feels when he's with you. And before you think, so I have to be rude to get his attention. No, this isn't about acting like a jerk or playing games. It's about owning your truth and expressing your desires with clarity and confidence. That's when everything starts to change. Because that's the key difference between the women men desire and the ones they only value as good friends. If you don't want to keep being the woman who deserves love, but never actually receives it, there's a fundamental rule you need to understand. A woman who doesn't express what she wants simply doesn't exist on a man's emotional radar. Men aren't drawn to the ones who always aim to please. They're drawn to the ones who intrigue them, who stir their emotions, who shake them out of their comfort zone. And that doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from being real, direct, and emotionally courageous. And this is where those two words come in, words that can completely shift how a man sees you. Simple words. But when spoken from a place of inner confidence, they flip a deep switch in his mind. Want to know what they are? Get ready, because what comes next might change your entire story with men. Here's something you need to know now. Men aren't most attracted to the woman who tries the hardest to please them. They're drawn to the one who makes them feel something intense. It's not about being the funniest, like you're auditioning for a comedy show. It's about creating an emotional experience that shakes him, that jolts him out of the ordinary. The problem is, many women approach attraction like it's a checklist. They think, if I tick all the right boxes, be sweet, available, thoughtful, then you should choose me. But this isn't a job interview. And his desire isn't based on your emotional resume. Chemistry doesn't work that way. Carl Jung said that our decisions are driven not by what we think, but by what we feel. And in the world of attraction, this couldn't be more true. We don't choose with our heads. We choose with our hearts. With our gut, desire isn't calculated. It erupts. And this applies to men too. They don't fall in love with the woman who seems right. They fall for the one who makes them feel something real. Too many women fall into the trap of trying to convince, when what they really need to do is make him feel. They try to win him over with favors, with gifts, with endless time and energy, as if they're building up enough emotional points to earn a yes. But attraction isn't a reward system. It's not an emotional bank account. And the worst part, fear of rejection makes many women freeze. They're so scared of making waves that they disappear emotionally. Let me say this clearly. In the game of attraction, indecision is the kiss of death. While you're hesitating, wondering if it's the right time to tell him you're interested, another woman is already stirring emotions in him that you're still holding back out of fear. So how do you create authentic, powerful attraction? Not with flowers, not with dinners, not with endless patience. Real attraction is born from emotional presence, inner certainty, and clear direction. Men are drawn to women who know what they want and aren't afraid to say it. A woman who says, "This is what I want," without hesitation radiates magnetic energy. But the one who says, "I don't know, whatever you want, whatever works for you," gives off insecurity. And insecurity, as Jung understood, activates unconscious rejection responses. He spoke of the shadow, the parts of ourselves we deny. And insecurity often hides our shadow, the fear of rejection, abandonment, judgment. But when a woman makes peace with her desire, she expresses it with power. And that's when everything shifts. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine two women who want to ask a man out. The first says, "Would you like to hang out sometime? If you're free, of course, no rush." The second says, "I want to see you this Friday. Does that work for you?" Do you feel the difference? One sounds like she's asking for permission to exist on his calendar. The other clearly states her desire. Guess which one sparks more interest? Men aren't looking for arrogance, but they are looking for clarity. They're not attracted to women who shrink themselves to be liked. They're drawn to those who show up fully desires, direction, confidence, and all. Women who don't ask permission to want what they want. And this is where the two words that can completely transform your love life come into play. They're not magic. They're not some cheap trick. But when used the right way, they radically shift the way a man sees you. Are you ready to hear them? Really ready? Because this might mark a turning point in your story. The two words are, "I want," so simple, so direct. But when spoken from a place of authenticity, they carry explosive power. Don't be fooled by how simple they sound. These words hold immense psychological strength. Let's look at two scenarios. 1, if you want, we could maybe hang out sometime. If you have time. 2, I want to see you this Saturday. See the difference? The first one feels unsure, like you're asking for permission. The second one is clear, confident, honest, and that is magnetic. Do you see the power in your words? Here's the most fascinating part. When you say "I want" without hesitation, without apologizing, without dressing it up, something shifts in him. Why? Because most men aren't used to a woman who speaks with such clarity. They're used to ambiguity, to hints, to soft suggestions. But when you take emotional leadership and say "I want," you're not forcing anything. You're leading, and that, my dear, is power. Emotional power, real power. But careful, it's not about commanding. It's about inviting with direction. There's a big difference between saying, "I want you to do this," and saying, "I want to share this with you." One demands, the other connects. The key lies in the emotional intention behind your words. So if you've ever asked yourself why other women, who don't even try half as hard as you, end up with the guy you want, now you know. It's not that they're better. It's that they're not afraid to want and to say it. And now that you know it, get ready, because you're about to start playing by the rules that actually work. Ever wondered why some women, without the perfect body, without money, without being supermodels, still attract men who seem way out of reach? Here's the secret. They communicate what they want with confidence. They don't hide behind hints. They don't wait for him to figure it out. They say it clearly, directly, without fear. So here's what I want you to do. Try a little experiment. Next time you want to suggest something to a man, say "I want," no more if you want, no more if you have time. No more, "I don't know," whatever works for you. No, say clearly what you want and watch his reaction. Because here's the deepest truth of all. When a woman expresses her desires without fearing rejection, her energy becomes magnetic. And this doesn't just apply to love. Think about it. At work, it's not the same to say, "Well, if you think I deserve it, I'd really like a raise," versus "I want a raise because I have shown my value." One shows doubt, the other shows power. Same with friends. Don't say, whatever you guys want to do, I'll go along. Say, I want to do this today, and watch how differently they respond. Because the words we choose shape our social and emotional identity. If you get used to speaking with clarity, your world starts to shift, and that includes your love life. So now, tell me honestly, do you want to keep being the woman who waits, who adapts, who stays silent and just hopes? Or do you want to be the woman who takes action, who sparks desire, who radiates confidence? If your answer is the second one, you're on the right path. And what comes next is crucial. How to use those two words the right way, so you don't come across as desperate or aggressive, but as powerful and captivating. Because yes, there's a right way to say I want, and many, many ways to mess it up. For example, saying I want in a shaky voice, eyes on the floor, shoulders slumped, that won't work. Your body language contradicts your words. And in emotional communication, nonverbal cues speak louder than anything you say. It's like your body is saying, don't take me seriously. Carl Jung spoke about the power of integrating the self with the shadow, about aligning what we feel with what we express, and that's exactly what this is about. Aligning your desire with your expression. The power of I want doesn't come from shouting or commanding. It comes from saying it with a steady voice, clear eyes, open posture, and grounded confidence. You don't need to act like someone authoritarian, just someone who knows her worth. And remember, it's not about demanding, it's about inviting from a place of genuine desire. There's a huge difference between saying, I want to see you this Saturday, and I want you to do this for me, versus I want to see you this Saturday. Does that work for you? One communicates interest with elegance. The other sounds like a demand. And nobody, man or woman, likes to feel pressured. Attraction thrives in freedom, not under pressure. But here's the thing. Words alone aren't enough. You have to act. If you say, I want to take you to dinner, but then wait for him to make the plan, your message loses impact. Men are drawn to women who not only want something, but who move toward it, who make decisions and shift the energy in that direction. And that applies not only to relationships, but to your entire life, your work, your family, your personal goals. When you learn to communicate with certainty, you project desire. Because when you know your worth and express it clearly, you activate something primal in others. Admiration, curiosity, and yes, attraction. So try the experiment. Next time you want to invite a man out, don't ask for permission to want him. Say, I want to see you this Saturday. Does that work for you? Then hold his gaze, wait calmly. Trust your value, because a woman who doesn't beg, doesn't shout to be heard, and doesn't hide can't be ignored. Knowing something in theory won't change your life. What creates real transformation is applying that knowledge, putting it into action. If you've made it this far thinking, this all sounds great, but then do nothing with it, well, then it just stays a nice idea. It doesn't become real. Most women understand the theory. They get that they need to speak with more clarity, that they can't keep waiting for others to guess what they want or feel. But when the moment to act comes, they freeze. That paralysis comes from a deep place, the fear of rejection, of being judged, of what others might say. It's that inner echo, that voice from the shadow Jung spoke of, the unintegrated part of ourselves that wants to protect us but ends up sabotaging us. And the only way to quiet that voice isn't more overthinking. It's not endless reflection, it's action. You overcome fear by consciously doing what scares you. So here's a simple but powerful exercise. For the next 7 days, say I want at least 5 times a day in different areas of your life, not just in love. The goal is to train your mind and body to speak with clarity and intention, to start building that internal alignment between what you feel and what you express. When you're at a restaurant and the waiter asks what you'd like, don't say, I don't know. What do you recommend? Say confidently, I want this. When you're with friends and no one wants to decide what to do, don't say, I'm good with whatever. Say, I want to do this. And yes, when you're with that man you like, stop hiding behind vague phrases or passive tones. Say what you actually want clearly, directly, and without apologizing for it. You'll probably feel uncomfortable at first. That's normal. But that discomfort is where real growth begins. Your mind will try to protect you. It'll whisper that you're being too forward, that you might come off as arrogant, or that you're overstepping. But what's really happening is this: you're breaking through years of conditioning that taught you to wait, to stay quiet, to always be agreeable. That initial discomfort is a signal you're stepping into new emotional territory. It's like going back to the gym after a long break at first. Everything hurts. But if you stick with it, your body starts to grow stronger. The same goes for your inner voice, your way of expressing yourself. With time and consistency, your confidence will become something natural, something solid, After just a week of practicing this, you'll start to notice subtle but powerful shifts in the way people respond to you. Your friends will start taking your words more seriously. At work, you might feel a new sense of respect coming your way. And with men especially, you'll notice a shift in how they perceive your energy, not because you said some magical words, but because you stopped acting from fear and started acting from conviction. You'll stop being the woman who waits to be chosen. You'll become the one who chooses. You won't chase approval anymore, because you'll be too busy standing in your truth. But don't get this wrong. This isn't about manipulating anyone. It's not a trick to control someone's emotions or a mask to wear in hopes of getting attention. This challenge is about reconnecting with yourself, with your wants, with your voice, with that part of you that's been silenced too often for the sake of making others comfortable. It's about becoming the version of yourself who knows what she wants and has the courage to say it without fear, without apology. So here's your challenge. For the next 7 days, practice this with real intention. Notice how you feel. Notice how your energy shifts. Pay attention to how others respond to you. And if, after those 7 days, nothing feels different, you're free to go back to the way things were. But if something starts to shift, even slightly, you'll know that this wasn't just a nice idea. It was the missing key to unlocking a whole new chapter of your life. So let's end with a reminder of what this is really about. Confidence awakens desire, because when you truly know your worth and express it without hesitation, you stir something primal in others. Admiration, intrigue, and yes, attraction. So once again, try it. The next time you want to ask a man out, don't ask for permission to want him. Just say it clearly, confidently, and own it.